Thought is the only power which can produce tangible riches from formless substance. Those are the first words from this book, The Science of Getting Rich, written by Wallace D. Wattles, first published in 1910, an extremely influential book in the positive mindset community. And in this episode and in the next 3 episodes that follow after that, I'm going to look at 4 chapters from this book, starting with this first one, and we're going to unpack some powerful quotes from The Science of Getting Rich. Welcome to Every Day, a New Thought. I'm Thor Chalgren, and every day I bring you a new thought perspective. I wanted to go back and look at this book because there are a number of people that have mentored me that are influential in the New Thought community who have cited this book, and it's one that I've read many times, but they've cited 4 specific chapters and said, if you read these 4 specific chapters every day for 90 days, you would change the way you think about your relationship to success. And so today and over the next 3 days, I'm going to unpack 4 of those chapters and talk about quotes from them and how we can apply them in our lives today. So the first chapter is chapter 4, and it is called The First Principle in the Science of Getting Rich. Now, one caveat, when Wattles wrote this, the idea of getting rich wasn't just success and riches in the money sense. It was also health. It was vibrant relationships. It was basically any sort of ability for you to be successful. So just keep that in mind, that we're not talking about just making money, though that is in there. So when you hear some of these quotes, think of it that way. So in this series, what I'm going to do is read a few of these quotes and then unpack them. These are the ones that I think are sort of the most profound in this chapter. So he starts and kind of wants to set the definition for all of what's to come. And he says this: there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that's imaged by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought on formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. That's the full quote. So you probably have heard something like this many times before. Thoughts are things that when you put your mind out there into the universe, this is another term that we use, that your thought energizes in the universe and comes back to you as that thing. This is not a new thought, but remember, this was written in 1910. His book preceded Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich by 25 years. It preceded Ernest Holmes's The Science of Mind textbook, which was published first in 1927. So this is one of those original instances of someone grappling with this idea that thoughts go out into what he called the ether and created what you were thinking. Now he goes on, and this is a part that I think is really interesting in this chapter. He says, to think according to appearance is easy. To think truth, regardless of appearance, is laborious and requires the expenditure of more power than any other work man is called upon to perform. So what he's saying here is that, yeah, you can look at things as they are, and that's easy. I can look around at my circumstances, whatever they may be, my health, my wealth, my relationships, and if I just take them as they are, that's easy to do. But to know the truth of what they are, despite my relative circumstances, despite my relative conditions, he's saying that's the hardest thing there is to do. He goes on and he says, to think health when surrounded by the appearance of disease, or to think riches when you are in the midst of poverty, requires power. But he who acquires this power becomes a mastermind. He can conquer fate. He can have what he wants. So again, he's saying, yes, it is easy to think thoughts based on what you see around you. Much harder to think thoughts based on the truth. But ultimately, that is more rewarding. And he concludes by saying, when we realize this, we lose all fear, for we know that we can create what we want to create, we can get what we want to have, and we can become what we want to be. Hope you enjoyed that. That's the show for today. If you like this episode, please hit like if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast app. Until tomorrow, thanks for watching.